Hello and welcome to episode number 30 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, and iHeartRadio Philadelphia. My name is Jason Fanelli, and I am the Esports and Gaming Insider for Fox PHL The Gambler, and in a week that has been full of strife and stress and unease and everything like that, I am happy to be here for you tonight to just have a little levity, have a little fun, and talk about video games and esports and things that technically aren't as important as what's going on in the world, but at the same time, sometimes you just want to have some fun. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Got some great topics for you. This is the 2021 preview show. We're going to talk about things that I'm looking forward to in the year 2021, my hopes and dreams for esports, some games to watch in the first 3 months of the year, because they tend to sneak up on me, so I want to make sure it doesn't happen to you as well. And then we will get into 5 bold predictions for 2021 across gaming and esports, things that I think are going to take place and things that I think you can look forward to in the coming year. Before we do any of that, let's get right into the 6 in 60 seconds. Dota 2 developer Valve bans a Chinese team newbie from all official competition as a result of a match-fixing scandal last year. League of Legends reportedly generated $1.75 billion in revenue for Riot Games in 2020. And Twitch has removed a popular emote, PogChamp, after the person pictured in the emote tweeted in support of the insurrection at the Capitol yesterday. Meanwhile, Outriders by Square Enix and People Can Fly has been delayed to April 1st. The demo is coming in February and progress will carry over. Speaking of demos, Monster Hunter Rise has a new demo available now on the Switch until February 1st. It was unveiled during a presentation earlier Thursday morning. And finally, back-to-back world records were set during the Sonic block at Awesome Games Done Quick 2021, the first ever back-to-back world records at a Games Done Quick event. Those are your 6 in 60 seconds. Yes, folks, there they are. That's the 6 in 60 seconds. Like I said, all seems trivial compared to what happened yesterday, even though what happened on Wednesday, sorry, I'm recording on Thursday night. Even though what happened yesterday did seep in that Twitch story, but hey, them's the breaks, baby. If you're gonna support that kind of crap publicly like that, then you deserve every punishment that's coming to you, depending on the severity of your support. I should say, just some dude tweeting should not be treated the same as somebody who was there. I just want to put that out there right now. Also, the back-to-back world records in the Sonic block on Monday, that was so exciting. If you're not watching Awesome Games Done Quick on twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick, you should be, because it's an awesome event. It just crossed $1 million as I've been prepping the podcast tonight. So definitely doing the good things Awesome Games Done Quick is this year. So let's get into my esports hopes and dreams for the year of 2021. It is a fresh year. It's time to look back with fresh eyes on what esports can bring for us this year. Last year, most of the esports out there, most of the big games out there, took advantage of the fact that we were all stuck inside due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I imagine that once the earnings calls come out, games that are heavy in esports, like League of Legends that we spoke about in the 6 and 60, we'll be talking about big returns and big numbers. I know that Call of Duty League set a viewership record for its grand finals back in September for its first year of the Call of Duty League. I know Fusion was spouting some pretty good numbers too. So it's just a matter of seeing what the final financial numbers are and seeing where we're going with these leagues in 2021. But my first major hope for esports in this year should not really be a surprise considering where we are and what we cover, and that is that the Philadelphia Fusion finally figure out a way to bring it home. They as I've said many times before on this show, this is a team that gets on the cusp of a win, whether it's in an in-season tournament or they make the Final Four of the actual grand finals, and they just can't get the job done. If I were Carpe, the star damage player on the team, I would be still fuming at the fact that you made it to the top 4 You made it to those grand finals, and you didn't win a single round, a single map while you were there. Swept out 3-0, 3-0. The chip on my shoulder would be as big as my head if I was him, and I hope he is going to bring this title home finally for the Fusion fans here in Philadelphia. We have always been a title-starved city. Before the Phillies won in 2008, I spent my entire life not seeing a Philadelphia championship, and now I've seen two, thank you to the Super Bowl in 2018, or 2017 season. But I think it's time. This is the year. I know a lot of people will pick San Francisco to three-peat because their team is pretty much intact, but the people that they've lost, the things that they've lost on that team, I think will hurt them more than people are giving them credit for. And I think this is a year where Fusion, so far with this moves that they've made and the core that they have established, are really in a prime spot to do some serious damage. Here's to hoping that the Fusion can bring us a title in the Overwatch League this year. And not only that, here's to hoping that wherever it is, there is a crowd there to cheer them on, hopefully with me in it. And that there's by that time there will be live crowds again, and we can all gather together and laugh and high five and elbow or whatever it'll be, and celebrate a Philadelphia Fusion Overwatch League title victory. They did well enough last year that I could talk about that and have it sound somewhat serious. I don't sound like I'm talking out of my butt when I say that they can actually do this year. But they have to actually make it happen. They can't be doing this, making it to the finals and losing stuff anymore. They're not the Buffalo Bills of the early 90s. Who knows what the Buffalo Bills this year are going to do? They're the Fusion, dang it, and I want a title. My second esports hope of 2021 sticks with the same company, Activision Blizzard, just on the Activision side and not the Blizzard side, and that is... While I understand why they didn't do it after the first season, after the second season, it is time that the Call of Duty League expand to Philadelphia. Call of Duty is a major up-and-coming league. The 12 teams that are there now are great, but this is the year, I think, that they should expand to 16, bring in 4 more teams, and Philadelphia should be at the top of that list. The Fusion Arena is being built. That facility is still very much in progress. I am eagerly awaiting that opening day with bated breath. Hopefully we can watch some Fusion in there or anything in there. And it would be also play a perfect host for a Call of Duty League team to get in there and represent this city well. I don't know what I would call it right now. I have sort of thought about what the name could be. Philadelphia Freedom is a little too... I think there's already a team named that, by the way, also. Philadelphia Liberty might be cool. Or the Independence, something like that. The Philly Independence. There's a name there. I haven't figured it out yet. But this is the year. If Philadelphia is going to be considered the East Coast hub for esports, that it is turning out to be, between Nerd Street Gamers being located here, the Fusion Arena, and other things like that, local hosts all over the city, there is no reason why every major city-based esport doesn't have a team with us, or somewhere in the region doesn't have it, if they don't have a team or some sort of presence in Philadelphia. Overwatch is here, NBA 2K League is here, EMLS is here. It's time Call of Duty do the same. Now, again, I understand why they didn't do it in year one. The pandemic threw everything up in the air, and they wanted to keep it 12 teams in year two. I understand that. I do understand that. But if there's another season of online with the stages and everything, now it's time to get Philadelphia a Call of Duty League team. And I hope Comcast is knocking on that door, or T1, or whoever it would be, to make that happen as soon as possible. My third hope for the esports scene in 2021 is that Valorant breaks out. Valorant, by Riot, is quite the CSGO competitor, based on the First Strike tournament that we watched at the end of December. That was a very entertaining, very fun, very fast-paced tournament with a lot of fantastic action. And I was very much surprised with how far that game had come along just in the 6 months since it's been released on June 2nd, 2020, during that First Strike tournament. Had the opportunity to watch and interview a lot of the players to see where their heads were, to see what they thought about Valorant and its future. And it sounds like the future is very bright. More CSGO pros and Overwatch pros have moved over to Valorant as the months go on. Pretty soon it's going to be stacked. There's going to be more teams that know what to do with. They're going to have to branch out the league structure or something like that. Riot Games obviously has a history of running successful esports, if League of Legends is anything to be considered. So Valorant breaking out here and making a huge splash in the esports scene makes perfect sense to me. And I think they're in a prime position to do that. Go back and watch the First Strike matches. Go back and see how quick they were, even though it's very start-stop. I will say that. It's action than nothing because of the way that the match structure breaks out. But it's still very, very exciting, very, very cool. Seeing some of these top players pull off some of the stuff that they can do is exhilarating, and I highly, highly recommend that you go back and watch those on demand and get a feel for what Valorant is, because I truly, truly believe that they ain't going nowhere. Valorant's going to be here to stay, and it's going to break out in 2021. That's my hope, and it's a little bit of a prediction, too. It's not a bold prediction. Those are later, but it's a prediction of mine. Valorant's going to do very well in 2021. And my last major hope for esports in the coming year should not be a surprise to anyone that has ever listened to this podcast before. My final hope is that fighting games, the fighting game community, the fighting game esports circuit returns to the grandeur that it once was. And the only way that's going to happen, unfortunately, is through live events, because the online of these games is still kind of poopy. But the thriving communities all over the world, not just in the country, are chomping at the bit to get back at it and get out there and keep the fighting game community alive. And I think I am very... the 2021, if maybe just the back half of the year, but eventually, once people are vaccinated and it's safe to go out and things are calming down, they're due for a big return. There really is nothing like competitive fighting games. I've said it before, and I will say it again till I'm blue in the face. And all it's going to take is one live crowd to remind people, oh yeah, live fighting games are insane. Now, the We Play Ultimate Fighting League, or the WUFL, as was revealed during their Mortal Kombat 11 tournament in Kiev a couple of weeks ago, that has some promise. If that can sort of build a circuit where they have smaller events leading up to larger events in stages or in some sort of format with different games, that could be something to watch. But the real... that would add a little bit of structure to the fighting game community other than what the actual games themselves do, like Capcom Cup and Dragon Ball Fighter League and stuff like that. I think, though, once like an EVO or a final round or a combo breaker or CEO or one of those tournaments comes back and people remember, oh man, I forgot what professional fighting games were all about. The sky is the limit. Whether it's your local, for Philly, that's Big E Gaming running NEC, the Northeast Championships, Summer Jam, April Annihilation, Winter Brawl, and the rest. Or if you're in a different city, if you're in Atlanta for Final Round, or if you're in Chicago for Combo Breaker, all it's going to take is for crowds to be allowed to convene again, and fighting games are going to be right back on top. I am going to talk a little bit more about this during the during the final segment, the 5 bold predictions for the year 2021. But I want to make sure that you understand that I am very, very hopeful that fighting games are coming back this year with a bang. So those are my hopes for the esports world in 2021. Let me know what you think at Big Man Fanelli on Twitter. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you disagree. Happy to discuss it from here until those things happen, or they don't happen. If you have any good names for the Call of Duty League Philadelphia team that I am proposing here, or if you have other cities that would deserve a Call of Duty team to get it up to that 16 mark that I think it should be, let me know those as well. Love talking Call of Duty. I'm very excited for that season to start whenever it comes around. Now, normally this is the part of the show where I would tell you what's coming out in the coming weeks. I would tell you to raise your glasses and get ready for what's on tap. And I will do that sort of. The only two things that really stuck out to me were Five Nights at Freddy's Core Collection, bringing the first 4 Five Nights at Freddy's games to the major consoles, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game Complete Edition, the 2013 game based on the movie that was removed from online stores for a while, but is now coming back in a big way on the 14th of January. But instead of doing on tap, I actually want to branch out a little bit further and do games to watch in the entire first quarter of this year. The gaming industry is not stopping. They're going to be bringing a lot of games right in front of your face, right from the get-go. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted a few games. I have 12 total, 4 in each month, that you should be keeping an eye on, that you should maybe, focus on a little bit, just to make sure that you're on top of things. When these games come out, you'll be ready to check them out. And the first one is the aforementioned Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game Complete Edition, coming out next week. This game, if you don't remember it from when it first released, it plays like a Streets of Rage or a Final Fight sort of game where you're in it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up with crazy, a animated 8-bit, 16-bit style graphics, a soundtrack by Anna Monoguchi that is out of this world, fantastic chiptune artist. They really did a good job here. It follows the story of the movie, and I believe there's some comics elements in there too, but it's a lot of fun, even if you don't know what Scott Pilgrim is, or have never watched the movie or anything like that, with Michael Cera, and I think Dakota Fanning is the girl. I don't remember what her name was. But this is a very, very fun game. It harkens back to that old arcade style, and definitely one that I dug a lot, and I think you would too, if you're into that kind of thing. So I would highly recommend that Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, Complete Edition, be on your radar next week when it releases. A little further down in January, I want to talk about Cyber Shadow. Now, this is a game that I played at E3 2019 at the Xbox Showcase after their press conference at E3. It is published by Yacht Club Games, who are the developers of Shovel Knight, and it is developed by a side company whose name eludes me at the moment, if you will allow me to look that up real fast. The name of the company is Mechanical Head Studios. That's it. Very sorry about that. Mechanical Head Studios. And this one is also a very retro-style game, but instead of being like the Final Fights or the stuff like that, this is Ninja Gaiden. They are going for a full-on Ninja Gaiden Strider-style platforming ninja game, and I am all about that life. This game played so very well at that E3. I can't believe it was over a year ago that I played this game. A year and a half almost since I've played that demo. It's been on my mind ever since, and I'm really, really looking forward to it finally coming out. It's coming out at the end of this month. That is definitely one that could make a lot of people very happy and be a breakout title in the first quarter of the year. Just the platforming is spot on. The music by Jake Kaufman, who did Shovel Knight, is amazing, and I really just can't say enough about how excited I am about this game. So January 26th is a date to circle on the calendar for retro-style gaming fans, because Cyber Shadow is going to knock your socks off. But if horror is more your thing, which I can confirm for myself, it's not. The Medium releases on January the 28th, 2 days after Cyber Shadow. And The Medium first debuted at the Xbox conference. I believe it was the May conference where it was just third-party games. And it's got this weird dual world, light and dark world thing going on. The trailers are creepy. There's a gameplay video out there now that spooked the hell out of me, but it's not like a Resident Evil sort of spook or like a like a phasmophobia, ghost sort of spook. This is a psychological, deep crawling in your, like, gross sort of scare, a la Silent Hill. A lot of people in their previews are mentioning Silent Hill as an inspiration for this game, and I'm all about that. So if it plays like an old Silent Hill game, or it's the Silent Hills game we never got, I think that's a little ambitious. But if that's what this is, I think horror fans are going to be very, very happy. So the Medium should be on your list as well. And then finally in January, the same day as the Medium, January 28th, we're going to talk about Elysia. Now, Elysia is a game by Devolver Digital Publishing and Skeleton Crew Studios developing. And this is about a man named Faraday, shipwrecked, then trapped on a mysterious country, armed with a harpoon. And so there's a bit of traversal with the harpoon, so you can hook yourself onto platforms, and then you can use the harpoon to fight. The first trailer of this game really, really, really impressed me. I believe it was back at the Devolver Digital Devolverland Expo back in July when this was first announced. I really, really dig this game, and I'm very, very much looking forward to what they do with this retro-style game. It's very, very fast, very platformy, not as fast as Cyber Shadow, not quite as ninja platformy. This is more using the harpoon to your advantage, but a very, very cool little game that I think might impress some people as well. So keep that one on your radar as well. One quick note about the Medium before I move on to February. If you have Xbox Game Pass, you're going to play it for free on day one. So if you're a horror fan with Xbox Game Pass, you are in luck. I did forget about that little wrinkle. First one for February is February the 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day, so maybe get it for your sweetie if your sweetie likes Super Mario. That is Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. Super Mario 3D World was a 2013 Wii U game that played just like Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. You can play as Mario, you can play as Luigi, you can play as Peach, you can play as Toad, and you ran through these three big 3D levels, classic Mario platforming, kind of an in-between of like the Super Mario 64 full 3D and the old Mario 2D style. Fell somewhere in the middle, but had its own little quirks and perks as well. And then the Bowser's Fury expansion that's coming with it adds a little more story, gives a little more for players to do, which is very, very cool. I love when remakes or ports like this are more than just the original port. They expand a little bit on the original game. I feel like that's very, very cool. So I am looking forward to what Nintendo is planning here with the Bowser's Fury portion of Super Mario 3D World. But I will definitely play Super Mario 3D World again because it's fun, it's light, it's whimsical, the music is amazing, and it's really hard to not be excited for it. So Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury for the Switch fans on February 12th. Next up is the Persona 5 game, and before you say anything about Persona 5 being too long of an RPG and it's not what you're into, this is not that kind of game. Persona 5 Strikers on February 23rd plays more like a Musou game. So your Hyrule Warriors, your Dynasty Warriors, your Astral Chain, games like that. So instead of deep 100-hour RPG gameplay that Persona is known for, Strikers here, Persona 5 Strikers, is branching out into the third-person action genre, where you're hacking and slashing through enemies and stuff like that. So every Musou game I've played that is adapted from another franchise has treated that franchise very well. Calling Astral Chain a Musou game is a little unfair. There's a little more to that game than that, but it is a better comparison to Strikers than a pure Musou game. So that's why I included it in there. Definitely has Musou elements, Strikers does, but I'm getting more of an Astral Chain vibe from it, which is fine because Astral Chain was amazing. I don't think Platinum is involved with Strikers, though. But if you're a Persona fan or if you're a fan of the Musou genre, definitely one to check out. Persona 5 Strikers coming soon to, I think, all consoles, or at least Switch and PS4. I have to check into that. Another remake in February 25th, and this is one that was just announced at the Game Awards in December, so a very short turnaround between first announcement and actual playing, and that's Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Arthur is back in his armor that breaks after one hit, and his strawberry boxers, throwing lances at zombies and playing some of the most iconic game music ever. Very, very, very much looking forward to this one because I love that game. As difficult as it is, and as much as those games make me want to tear my hair out, God, do I like playing them. So, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection is absolutely on my radar. Should be on yours, too. And then finally, for those of you, in February finally, for those of you who heard my Persona 5 Strikers talk just then, and want the deep RPG gameplay that game will lack, Bravely Default 2 on February 26th is for you. Bravely Default 2. Bravely Default, the first one, played like a classic Final Fantasy game, just with a different coat of paint. Also by Square Enix, though, the RPG powerhouse. Looking very forward to number 2. Hoping that it continues the story well, and it has that same deep style, turn-based combat system where you can choose to skip and make your attacks more powerful or attack every turn. Very, very cool mechanic there. I hope that continues. But yeah, Bravely Default 2 is on my radar as well for February. I believe that's a Switch exclusive as well at the moment. So Switch is getting some help in February. In fact, all 4 of those games, 3 of them definitely are exclusive to the Switch: Mario 3D World, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, and Bravely Default 2. But Strikers, I have to look up that. But Switch is going to have a strong February. So definitely look forward to those if you're a Switch fan. And then finally, we are now in March. March has a game starting on March 19th. Returnal, made by Housemarque, who made Resogun, which was a PS4 launch title way back in 2013. This company loves making games that I love to play. They have a great pedigree as one of PlayStation's top studios. But this one deviates from Resogun's genre, which was more like a Defender-style Geometry Wars ship-based shooter, and instead takes you into the third-person action shooter. Has a bit of a Prometheus/Alien vibe to it. I'm not exactly sure what we're fighting here, but the trailers have been good and creepy, and this is one that I think could take a lot of people by surprise that aren't aware of Housemarque and their pedigree when it comes out on March 19th. So put Returnal on your list for March. And right next to that, put 2 big-time games on March 26th. The first one being Monster Hunter Rise, Capcom's insanely popular Monster Hunter franchise, coming to the Switch exclusively through Rise in an area that looks like it's based on feudal Japan. All the hub area is very Japanese dojos, and the areas that they've shown so far, the monsters that they've shown so far, definitely seem like they have an Eastern flair to them. There's one that was revealed earlier today on Thursday during the presentation that looks like a giant Oni beast, and he can breathe his icy breath onto his hand and create an ice blade out of it. Very, very cool. So Monster Hunter Rise, I'm hoping it's as detailed and in-depth as Monster Hunter World was. If not, I'll kind of get it because it's on the Switch. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, as long as it's also fun. And the idea of riding the big monsters is very, very exciting to me. So Wyvern riding will definitely be on the top of my list when I play that demo that's out now. And also, It Takes Two by Hazelight Studios, headed by Joseph Fares. Joseph Fares made a little name for himself at the Game Awards one year for telling a company to, no, he didn't tell a company, I'm sorry. He said, F the Oscars. He's a very, very animated, very, very upbeat man. But his last game, A Way Out, with your 2 players playing on the same screen, breaking out of jail and dealing with those circumstances, was a very, very cool little game. The game before that, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, was his, and that's one of the coolest games I've ever played because you control 2 different brothers with the same controller. One half of the controller is one brother, and the other half is the other, and you control them exactly the same. Very, very cool. So It Takes Two, based on the first trailer that we saw at the Game Awards, definitely has that sort of flair to it, and I'm interested to see how they make it work in this new game coming out March 26th. So It Takes Two. And then finally, if you have not heard of Disco Elysium, A very popular adventure game on the PC. Read up on it, because sometime in March, the date is not confirmed yet, the final cut will be coming to PC and consoles, PlayStation 4 and 5 first, and then Xbox and Switch later on. This is a tremendous story, very critically acclaimed. I have it downloaded on my PC and just haven't pressed play on it yet. Add it to the list. But there are a lot of people who are very excited about this port, very excited that more people get to experience what this game is. And so make sure, just based on that buzz alone, you won't know that you're up on it and you understand what you're getting into. It's a very, very cool story, a very, very cool world. It's like a murder mystery sort of thing, but there's not a whole lot of combat. It's more dialogue and like finding the right answers, finding clues and stuff, investigation, that sort of thing. But very, very critically acclaimed. And I'm hoping that it translates well to PC, because it sounds like a game that I would want to succeed on a grander level. So those are the 12 games to look out for in the first quarter of 2021. In March I will detail April, May, and June, obviously. And if more games are announced between now and then, I will definitely talk about those too. But in January, make sure you look for Scott Pilgrim, Cyber Shadow, The Medium, and Elysia. In February, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, Persona 5 Strikers, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, and Bravely Default 2. And in March, Returnal, It Takes Two, Monster Hunter Rise, and Disco Elysium, The Final Cut. Those 12 games will give you plenty to play in this new year. No matter what console you have, there's a good time for everyone. So keep an eye on those 12 games as you look for your next conquest. And now that we've talked about the games to watch, let's get into the predictions. It is bold prediction time here on the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, and I have 5 big things that I think are coming in the year 2021 across all of gaming. This is not just for general gaming. This is not just for esports. Both will be here. Some of these predictions are based on gut feelings. Some of these predictions are based on the way that the world is working right now. Some of these predictions are not so much predictions as they are, please let them happen. But these 5 things would make me a very happy boy in the year 2021. And the first one is, my first prediction is that Tokyo Game Show, currently scheduled for September, will be the first post-pandemic in-person convention. I think that September will be about the time that we will be getting back into full swing normalcy. I don't think it'll be completely normal. There will still be like masks and a little bit of social distancing and things like that. Currently slated, as I said, for September 30th to October 3rd, 2021. And it looks like they are trying to go in person. I think they will do it. I think they will be able to get it done by that time. I think vaccines will be prevalent enough around the world that we can get back into a full in-person convention. And I think Tokyo Game Show will be the first one to do it. Now, there are some in America that are scheduled. PAX East is scheduled for the first week of June. E3 2021 is technically still on the schedule. But I do not know. June just seems a little soon, if you ask me. June. I don't think. I'm thinking July or maybe even August is when things will start really feeling normal again. I think we're in the home stretch here. As if you were going to cut the pandemic into thirds, I do think we're approaching the final third. But I think June is just too soon, unless vaccine distribution ramps up to 100 in the next couple weeks. I don't think PAX or E3 are going to make those dates, and they're going to have to do something different. But Tokyo Game Show in September, yeah, that I think can happen. First post-pandemic in-person convention, Tokyo Game Show is my pick. The second one is a prediction that is based on something that should not have happened. This was a last minute change right before the launch of the PlayStation 5, and something that ever since then I have come around more and more on the idea of this being feasible, and that is that a PlayStation 5 exclusive called Destruction All-Stars will be the 2021 equivalent to Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout and become a huge multiplayer success to the point where, unlike Fall Guys, Destruction All-Stars could be the next big esport. Now, Destruction All-Stars is a 16-player game that's half vehicular combat, a la Twisted Metal, and half just combat in general. So 16 players jump into arena in their cars, and they try and destroy the other players' cars. When they do that, the players can then run around the arena and try to avoid being hit, but they also have special powers that enhances them while they're in that vulnerable state. So, for example, one character can turn invisible. Whenever they're not in a car, you just press a button, you're invisible for a few seconds. That sort of thing. It was originally supposed to be a launch title for PlayStation 5, but then Sony decided to delay it to February, but also make it the PlayStation Plus free PlayStation 5 game when it launches. Now, if that's ringing a bell to you, that's because Fall Guys was the August PlayStation Plus game when it launched, and that, I believe, played a huge part in propelling it into the stratosphere where it sat for most of 2020. We don't get the Tim the Tat Man winning his first Crown Twitch stream without that decision. Even if he was playing on PC, I don't know that. But the game is not as popular if it's not made free on PlayStation Plus in August. And I think Destruction All-Stars will get the same kind of bump. To the point where, if there is enough fanfare, I do think that could be a game that could become a decent esport. We'll have to see how it plays. We'll see how it structures. But I do think, based on the videos that I've seen and the trailers that I've watched, there's esports potential in Destruction All-Stars. I really think that. I hope I'm right. I could be wrong. But keep an eye on that one. And if you have a PS5, make sure you download it in February. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Destruction All-Stars is going to be this year's Fall Guys and the next big esport. Number 3 bold prediction is absolutely wishful thinking. I know that there is a chance that this is not going to happen. Honestly, anything with this brand name would be fine for me. But my bold prediction, number 3, is that EVO 2021 will be the first live, in-person, major fighting game tournament post-pandemic. Just like I said, Tokyo Game Show will be the first convention. EVO 2021 will be the first in-person esports event. And I think the time frame helps. This is normally happening at the end of July to early August. It's normally happening in Las Vegas. I feel like if they announce plans soon and they tell people, they're upfront with them, that they'll refund anything if something should happen, but they are going to try and move forward with a live EVO, that barring a catastrophic failure in vaccines, it could happen. August, maybe move it back a weekend or two so it's not the first weekend in August, just to give you that space. But I have this weird feeling in my gut that EVO 2021 is going to bring fighting games back to the live in-person format. Do I think it'll be different? Yes. Do I think the experience will be different if you go out there? Yes, I do. And that has to do a lot with what happened in the fighting game community last June. But do I also think that EVO being the first tournament back after this pandemic would be a very, very huge thing for not only that tournament, but for all the fighting games? I absolutely think that. So, again, there's some wishful thinking in there, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. EVO 2021, the first post-pandemic in-person sports event in America, and it will blaze the trail for the other esports leagues and for other public gatherings and take us out of the pandemic, which I'm very, very excited to be out of. So look for EVO 2021. I hope I'm right there, but we shall see. Bold prediction number 4 is in the same vein as the Destruction All-Stars, but instead of focusing on the next big esport, I want to focus on the next big indie darling. What will be 2021's Hades, for reference sake? The game that comes out of nowhere, developed by an indie studio, and just blows the doors off everyone, and gets major critical acclaim at the end of the year. For me, that's 12 minutes. If I had to predict, bold prediction number 4, 12 minutes is going to be the indie darling of 2021 and win a ton of awards at the end of the year. 12 minutes is about a man stuck in a time loop where he relives the same 12 minutes over and over again. And in those 12 minutes, he's with his wife, eating dinner, and then a man comes in and bad stuff happens. The first couple trailers for this game have been very interesting. The first few looks that we've gotten are very, very intriguing. The fact that it's made by one man, a man of Portuguese descent who now lives in California, is absurd. And the fact that this game made by one man was able to land James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe as the voices tells me that there is a quality product here, and I should be very excited to play it. So 12 minutes is, for me, the indie darling of 2021. Bold prediction number 4. And we'll see. We won't know until 12 minutes is in our hands. Annapurna Interactive, I believe, has a major, major, major hit coming in 12 minutes. And then finally, my final bold prediction of 2021. This one comes off a story that I talked about a couple of weeks ago about a certain heel turn, or a company that was doing some things that they don't really usually do. And that is, I think that Nintendo will unveil their own Super Smash Bros. League-based competition series. It'll be a full Smash Bros. League a la the Pokemon World Championships circuit. I think they will have multiple Smash Brothers games in this circuit. I think they'll have at least 2, and that would be Ultimate and Melee. And I feel that they will do a season-based format with points that can be earned and other sorts of events, both big and small, across the world. Some of them run by Nintendo themselves, some of the other events that Nintendo is sponsoring. And at the end of the year, they'll have a major Super Smash Bros. Blow-off event where they crown the 2021 champion. The recent issues with the Big House and wanting to avoid, trying to police how people consume their game really tipped me off to the idea that if Nintendo really wanted to, they could make their own Super Smash Bros. League, just like the Pokemon League that they already help with, and it would be amazing. You'd have players coming from far and wide to participate in the actual tournaments. If you partnered with the tournaments that already exist, for example, the EVO 2021 I just mentioned, you could bring even more eyes to it. And then you have your own finals at the end of the year, celebrating the best in Super Smash Bros. They're technically already doing this with the Battlefy Opens. Just make those Battlefy Opens worthy of points for this championship series, and you're in. That's it. Super Smash Bros. League, or whatever you would want to call that, from Nintendo, could be a huge moneymaker for them. I imagine a lot of people like playing Super Smash Bros., considering it's reaching 28 million copies sold. I imagine that a lot of people still like playing Super Smash Bros. Melee, if that controversy is anything to go off of. So, Nintendo creating their own tournament, a la how Riot runs League of Legends Esports, just makes all the sense in the world. And I predict that they will be wise to this after all of the recent brouhahas they've gotten into about delisting games and things like that. I think this is their way out. I think they just make their own league and sponsor it and have other companies sponsor it. and then have this major, humongous blow off at the end of the year, hopefully in person. It just makes all the sense in the world to me. I don't know why they wouldn't do it. Just like the Pokemon. Format it just like the Pokemon one. And you're in the money. So those are my 5 polled predictions for the year 2021. What are some of yours? What things are you thinking coming up in 2021 that could make or break the year for you? Let me know at Big Man Fanelli on Twitter. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Maybe there's something you and I can agree on. If you don't like what I'm saying here. Also, make sure that you follow Fox PHL the Gambler on Twitter for all things main sports. And NFL playoffs are coming. NHL is coming back. Things like that. Make sure you follow Fox PHL Gambler for all that stuff there. And then come watch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/jfan64. I am trying to get Big Man Fanelli back. I had it for a website way back when, and now I can't access the account anymore, so I'm trying to figure out how to get that back. But twitch.tv/jfan64 at the moment. Played a lot of Fortnite lately, as I talked about with Sean Brace on the radio on Thursday, but also trying to branch out into other stuff. I want to get back into some fighting games. I want to get back into a couple of story games that I've been playing, Assassin's Creed Valhalla being a big one. So come check me out, twitch.tv/jfan64. Very much looking forward to you coming and watching me play. And with that, that is episode number 30 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL the Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, and iHeartRadio Philadelphia. Whenever you're listening to this, you will have missed the speed run of local boy Carl Germanovich, running Night in the Woods Demon Tower at Awesome Games Done Quick 2021. Last I checked, his start time now is 6:57. There's always some fluctuation in times based on the things that people have to do to set up and stuff like that. So make sure you keep an eye out tomorrow. If you're listening to this either at 9 a.m. when it first went live or on the radio on Saturday, you did unfortunately already miss out. So we will keep you posted on where you can watch Carl's run as soon as it's live. Look for our socials, look at our channels, and we will get it to you there. This has been episode 30 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast. I am Esports and Gaming Insider Jason Fanelli. Until next week, my friends, see you soon.